And we're live.
All right. Hi. My name is Mrs. Martin. This is my sous chef today, Mrs. Lancaster. And I'm going to make you one of my favorites from when I was a kid, something my mom made for us all the time. It's called chicken and cheese dumplings. Really simple recipe, really simple to make. It tends to be a little messy, but it's always worth it. And what I'm going to do today is just a really simple main dish. You can always add lots of sides or change it up a little bit. I know I've seen some friends make it with other things than what we use here. So be creative when you're in the kitchen. All right, we're going to start today by cutting up the chicken. And this is a really large batch of things because we're making some meals for teachers. But when you make this, you can start with 2 cans of cream soup. We're using cream of celery today since I know some people don't like cream of mushroom, but that's what I use since it's a little less salty. You use 2 cans of cream soup. You use some milk, about a cup per can. You'll use some chicken. You can use either 2 to 3 chicken breasts just boiled in water. You can use a rotisserie chicken, a full chicken that you pick all the meat off of, or this is the rotisserie meat all pulled. And then you'll need 1 crescent roll we should make 8 crescent rolls. All right, so we're going to start today by cutting our chicken open, and then we'll cut it up with our knife so that it's really small pieces that fit inside our crescent rolls. You can also at this time get your oven preheating to 350 degrees so that it's warm when you're ready to put in your crescent rolls.
Also, make sure before you handle anything in your kitchen,
You wash your hands. Alright, that chicken comes out. We're going to throw away the garbage. Garbage right there for you. And I'm going to start our oven. There we go. Does it hit start or anything, or does it just start on its own?
You just have to push.
Just bake
Yeah.
on the up arrow? Alright, we should be good. Alright, so now since some of the pieces are smaller and some are bigger, we're just going to cut them all to about, a small bite size. You want them pretty small, about yay big, maybe as big as the tip of your thumb. Try and keep them on your cutting board. You don't want to wreck counter space or anything. This part can take a little time, so give yourself lots of time to put them together. After that, they sit in the oven and get ooey gooey and delicious, so that last part is the best part, the waiting.
So these are all technical terms. The yay big and the ooey gooey and delicious.
Do you use other terms when you cook stuff?
No.
Okay.
Like smidges.
Pinch.
And pinches.
About as big as your thumb can be different too. I have big thumbs.
what's the little stuff?
But I imagine that can change. Just make them, once you make it the first time, you'll know if you cut the chicken too big or too small. And then you can always change it for next time. And of course we're going to stuff our chicken and cheese into crescent rolls. But I know I've had friends who put the chicken and cheese sauce.
I can be your Vanna.
Oh, excellent. Wish my glasses weren't fogging up. I know a friend of mine puts their chicken and cheese sauce over mashed potatoes, if that was something you liked more than the crescent rolls. It's also a little less hands-on and simpler to make for friends who don't really like to be in the kitchen. And I have a lot of those, which is why they visit me, because I love to cook.
Well, hi.
My glasses are fogging up.
How are we doing?
Hey, Mrs. Martin, if I'm running out of room on my cutting board, where is this chicken going to go?
We will put it
Oh, yeah.
in this bowl I'm picking up right here as it gets cut. Because we're going to take all the chicken from the bowls anyways. Like we said, this is a really large batch. You normally won't have this much chicken. So don't stress about how long it's taking us to chop the chicken, because it will not take you that same amount of time.
Boy, this pulled chicken is very handy.
It is. But the rotisserie chickens from Costco or Walmart or Target, if Target has it, I'm not sure. I know some probably do and some don't. And Sam's Club all are delicious, and they're actually usually only about $5 to $6, which is convenient. But if you already have chicken breasts at home, you can certainly make this. And if you wanted it a little spicier, you could season your chicken while it's boiling, cooking. You could season it with. I'm gonna wash my hands and adjust my face mask because my glasses are fogging up.
Now, if I really wanted to save money, I really wanted to make things easy. Could I use canned chicken?
Absolutely, you can use canned chicken. I just recommend draining the canned chicken so that it doesn't add too much moisture to it. Well, it's hard for your crescent rolls to seal if you do that.
I'm just wondering because there's this little channel that I follow called Dollar Dinner, and they make a dinner for $20 or under. Shout out Dollar Dinner. So I'm wondering if I could use canned chicken.
I think you could be as creative as you want with whatever ingredients you find. Something I like to do to sneak vegetables in, because even as adults, sometimes my husband does not like to eat his vegetables. He won't eat peas, so I can't do that. But I have thrown small cut up broccoli and cauliflower into the cheese sauce. And we know cheese sauce tastes great over broccoli. I grew up with broccoli and cheese. Just to get us to eat broccoli. So we know that's good, and you can just toss it in, and it'll cook just slightly in the sauce, which allows it to keep its crunchiness and not be a mush on mush. Another technical term. And then you get some vegetables. You can also do things on the side, like a mixed vegetable medley. But I think the broccoli and cauliflower has been my best idea yet. I know when I was a kid, my mom's idea of a vegetable, she just couldn't think of a vegetable with pickles. We never had a lack of pickles in our fridge. So she'd put pickles out with spaghetti because sometimes vegetables don't make sense with spaghetti. She'd put pickles out with this meal because my dad was picky about eating stuff with vegetables. So she got really creative about getting us pickles or getting us vegetables using pickles. You might have to take some of my chicken.
I will. I grew up with choppy chop.
I actually don't usually cook for speed. You'll notice I cook for not chopping my fingers off and doing it right. But you don't have to be fast to be in the kitchen. It just means I'll never be on chopped. That's okay.
You go with your bad self over there.
I like the chop things.
I tend to like to try new recipes a lot, and they always seem to be something kind of putsy that I have to do a lot with my hands. I have to do take a lot of time to do, but it's usually worth it. And this has been a favorite. In fact, my favorite story about this dish is when I cooked it once for my sister and brother-in-law as a thank you for letting me stay with them. And my brother-in-law licked his plate. He liked it so much, and he's a very good cook. So I was proud of myself, and this has been kind of a signature dish from then on. This could be something that you could make it in a smaller batch, but it's hard with the 8 crescent rolls in a tube.
Sure, we're chef hats. Oh, missed opportunity.
Next time.
Next time.
If only I had them.
Do you have chef hats?
I don't. But now it's gonna go on my wish list. For sure. Capital outlay next year.
Chef hats. Make sure there's 2, because if you ever have us on, you know that we come as a team.
Yeah.
Right.
In fact, Steph was the first one to give us the nickname the Dream Team.
Yeah.
We like to work together, we work well together, and we like to help each other. Alright. This chicken is it looks good, it smells good. You'll notice that I don't actually add a lot of seasoning to this dish because the cream soups really give you the sodium. You could add pepper. I think I usually do that when I'm eating, not so much to the whole dish, just in case somebody's a little... Okay. In case somebody's a little sensitive to the spices. But if they're not, you can season it with whatever you like, whatever you're used to. I've toyed with the idea of changing from the Colby cheddar cheese or cheddar jack cheese to a shredded pepper jack, if you like it a little spicy. I know I started adding that to my tater tot hot dish instead of whatever other kind of cheese you like, and it's delicious.
I hate tater tots.
Well, yeah, but if you're in Minnesota, you gotta love tater tot hot dish.
No, tater not.
Tater not!
You don't like tater tots?
I
She
hate
doesn't
tater
like
tots.
tater tots. But you'll eat tater tot hot dish,
I
won't you?
will eat tater tot.
Yeah.
Do you use like the little hash browns on top? and
No,
stuff?
those are just like bigger tater tots.
They are, so they're wonderful.
Yeah, like extra tater tot love.
Ooh.
I will say when we've been out to eat, Sarah, if she gets tater tots with anything, it's either something I help her with or her husband helps her with.
I don't either.
Not a tater tot fan. Probably the only human I know that's really that against tater tots.
Yeah.
And that's okay. We all like what we like.
Am I done with the cutting?
Yeah, we'll need new ones for the rolling. Or you
Oh.
want new ones. So
Okay.
I don't know, Steph, if there's a couple other cutting boards.
Yeah.
We could rinse and use these again. It's fine. Let's get the flavor, but
Maybe I'll just rinse this one.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Rinse
I got
and
it.
reuse.
Got it.
I'm kind of the queen of dirty dishes in my house, but I do all the dishes, so it's not a big deal.
I don't like doing this. In fact, I try not to do a lot of dishes.
Alright, so we're done with the knives though.
Done with the scissors. Make sure you clean your workspace as you go. You don't want it crowded. Wow, that is a lot of chicken.
That is a pile
That
of
is
chicken.
so much chicken.
Well, the cool part is if you have extra chicken, because I know it's kind of a roundabout measurement, we won't use this all in the actual crescent rolls, but what we do is we throw the extra leftover chickens into the cheese sauce, the chicken pieces, so it's not only in the dumpling as a delicious part of the dumpling, but it's in the sauce to make it delicious and give you a little extra, which is why you can sneak in vegetables, because sometimes people aren't sure if they're getting a vegetable or a piece of chicken, which is the best. Alright, so now we're going to start wrapping. This is the part that takes a little extra time as well, but it's very worth it. You really want your crescent rolls to be as cold as they can be, so you don't take them out of the fridge until right before you're ready to use them, if you can help it. Now this part always thrills my sister to watch me do, because it scares me every time. Maybe this time it won't, because you guys are watching and that would be embarrassing. No guarantees though. Alright.
Do you need a spoon?
I usually press with my fingers, so when you take, I don't know if you guys are familiar with crescent rolls, you take the wrapper off and then there's a little seam here. It says to press with a spoon until the can pops. So I usually just use the side of my thumb and I press what?
I slam it against the
You
counter.
do not.
I do, like an aggressive person.
Heck yeah, you slam
You
it
just
against
no.
the
You
can.
do. Here.
Nope. Oh, you can show me the next one.
Okay.
Okay, maybe.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, that was easy. Okay, well
See,
maybe
it
it's
wasn't
less
scary.
scary for me now. Okay, so we're gonna take all 8 out. They come out in a roll. You don't want to wreck them. You don't want them breaking because it's really hard to do this if they're broken. Here, why don't I give you half? We'll do half at a time because they're going to get
Let's move the
pretty.
cheese and chicken. Let's see.
Okay, so what we have is some cake pans here. Like I said, we're doing a big batch,
Sure.
but I use 1 cake pan for all 8 crescent rolls at home.
9 by 12.
Yep, a 9 by 12 cake pan. I mean, if you make less, however you manage to do that, then you can use a smaller pan. But the sauce recipe should also fill your cake pan up the right amount. So we're going to separate and unroll these and take 1 crescent roll at a time. So I have a triangle. I'm going to very gently kind of just stretch it and set it down so that I can use this opening. And then we actually need the cheese and the chicken.
Okay, cheese and chicken.
Something that would make this easier, Sarah, is putting the cheese in a little bowl.
Okay.
It's easier than reaching our whole hand in there. Alright, chicken. Alright, you can always refill the bowl.
Okay.
So you're going to take just a little bit of chicken, like a pinch in between your fingers, and set it in the middle of your crescent roll.
Okay.
You're going to take about a pinch of cheese in your fingers, just like the chicken, set it on the chicken. And here's the fun part. The part that a lot of people choose to change how they make this. Is we're going to fold over the edges of the crescent roll into the middle so they touch, and then roll over the crescent roll again towards the point. And I pick it up in one hand and I use the other hand to pinch all the sides together.
Everything's falling out.
That's okay. This is how you learn how much to put in.
It's like food origami.
And you just want to make sure all the bits are pushed together. Otherwise it'll open up in your sauce and it'll still be delicious, but it won't quite be the dumpling that you want it to be. Once all the parts are in together, we're going to put it in a pan.
I did too much cheese. It's all falling out. Oh no.
That's okay, this is how we learn.
Give this one to Mr. Barnes.
Did he sign up?
I don't know.
Okay.
Alright.
Excellent. Alright. Some of these crescent rolls come out kind of small, which is why you want to very gently just kind of stretch them a little bit so you have a little bit more space. You can also use the big and fluffy crescent rolls.
That's like me.
You could also use the biscuits. So it depends on what you like. I like the crescent rolls. This is how I grew up with it. So you put a pinch of chicken in. I had too much, so I put a couple pieces back in. I've done this a long time, so I know kind of the right ratios, but as you make them, you learn. Another pinch of chicken or cheese. Put the chicken. Fold in your two sides of your crescent roll into each other, and then flip the roll over. I know it's hard to see from where you are, but you could find a way that this works better for you. You just want to make sure to pinch all the sides in. Like I said, don't be frustrated if you don't feel like you're using a lot of it. Once you get the sauce over it with all of its extra chicken and cheese, you're not even going to notice.
That one was way easier. Second time around, it looks way better.
Alright, so we're going to do, when I put these in a cake pan, I always do 3 on the sides, spaced out, and with a little bit of space, and then 2 kind of in the middle. When we finish up with 1 pan, I'll show you what that looks like.
Oh no, I ripped this one.
Use your fingers to put it back together. These things are like delicious paste. Put them back together.
Got it.
Alright, some chicken,
This is a lot of chicken.
some cheese. Wow, we weren't sure when I had Steph buy this how many people would sign up, so I think it's better to have more than enough. And then these things, let me tell you, for leftovers, there's not much better. Maybe a chili that sits overnight and gets even better, but these things as leftovers are delicious.
Can't go wrong
Never
with
been disappointed.
crescent rolls.
Right. And cheese and chicken. It's so simple. So simple. Alright. So we are getting almost finished with 1 batch.
Got
Here.
1 more.
I'm gonna just make sure that this is sealed and have a little
Oh,
break.
oh no! Oh no! I ripped it.
If you have a ripped, just make sure you press it together. I'm gonna make sure all that crescent roll is sealed up. Now when we start baking these are going to bake like regular crescent rolls. Whatever the directions on the side say, I'm gonna read the package, and that's how we're gonna bake them to start. They need to get golden brown first before we top them with the sauce. So it's a 2-part baking, but it's very worth it. Alright. So 1 more each to go, just gently stretch.
I'm not good at the gentle. I tear. It's a gentle tear.
Gentle tear though. I mean, still gentle.
Oh no, now it's torn again. Oh no, we've had a breach in the middle. Oh no! That's fine, nobody looks. This one's good.
Sometimes instead of a pinch, a smoothing over with the thumb helps too. That's gonna go right here in the middle.
This one looks like a porcupine.
Ooh, my glasses are fogging up. I definitely don't
There.
usually cook with a mask on. This is a new experience for me. I cook in my home where I can be maskless.
Well, Mrs. Martin, while you get the sauce going, I'm gonna keep making
Yep.
these.
So this first batch is going to go in the oven so you guys can all kind of see what I do while it's cooking. Mrs. Lancaster.
Oh!
That's what happens to me every time. Okay. The first batch is
Unexpected.
done. Dumplings are done. This is why we cook together.
Oh,
It's fun.
no,
Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands.
There's cheese everywhere.
It's always funner with a friend.
Cooking is always more fun with friends. Alright. But less fun with masks. That's what we learned today.
Yes.
Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and start on the sauce while she's working on that. Like I said, you're going to use 2 cans of cream soup. This is cream of celery. I like cream of mushroom. You can use cream of chicken, but it's also pretty salty. Maybe the low sodium would be better. I don't usually have that around the house. But what we're first going to do, well, this is a big batch, so we're going to put it all in here. But you'll put your 2 cans of soup in the pot. And then don't throw away your can just yet, because there's some leftovers in there. And we're going to find a way to use them. We don't like a lot of waste in my house especially. So open your cans, put them in the sauce pot, and then in order to get that last little soup out, you're going to put about half a can worth of milk into the can, right in the can. It's about a cup, I would guess, not real strong at measuring. I just look in, when it gets about halfway, I stop. Do the same thing to this can. We're going to get our spoon, just a regular spoon somewhere. just a regular spoon. And put it in the can and kind of very carefully scoop around the outside. Shuffle that spoon. Get things off the edges, off the bottom. And then pour that half can of milk right in over your soup that went in the pot. If you see a bunch of other stuff, you can scoop it out with your spoon. Don't stress about every little bit, just most of it. Do the same thing here. We're actually going to do a huge batch, so I'm going to do the same thing to the next 6 cans, but you will just need 2 for your sauce. I will say most times when I have guests over for this meal, I make a double batch either way because it's nice to have leftovers, and with extra people, it's usually eaten up pretty well.
You ever freeze it?
I've never frozen it. I'm not sure what that would
work.
You know, I think you get a more soggy dumpling than what you're even going to get this time. But it still tastes good, so you won't have that texture. But
Right. I wonder if you froze it before you baked it.
Ooh.
oh, interesting. Well, you couldn't freeze the sauce on it.
You
Because
can freeze
bake-
what?
You couldn't freeze the sauce over top of it because you bake it.
Oh, and then make the sauce.
You bake it first. You bake these for about 15 minutes. Let me see the package says. So Steph is asking if you could freeze it. This is $3.50 for a nonstick cookie sheet on roll dough. Let's see, 9 to 12 minutes. I'm going to put it in for starting at about 10 minutes. And then I'll check them and make sure they're golden brown. They usually go about 15 in my experience, but I also don't usually have the oven preheated. So those have to bake first and get golden brown so they kind of have that crust.
Right.
And then you top it with the sauce. I'm not entirely sure that it would work to freeze. I've never thought about it.
You try it.
Absolutely. That's the best part about cooking. You try it.
Yeah.
The worst that happens is it's a delicious dumpling, cheese, and chicken filled sauce. You put
Right.
over whatever. However, I haven't done it yet, so I guess I don't know. All right. You want me to? Oh, you got the pan. Okay.
Got the can.
All right. So I'm going to make 2 separate batches of the sauce, or 2 separate pans, simply for ease of stirring. I was a little afraid that we would overflow, and I'm a cautious person, so just make it in 2 pans. But you'll only need 1 nice saucepan when you do this. And I turned the burner on to about a 6, a medium-high heat, because you don't want it to scorch to the bottom with the milk and the sauce. If it's too hot, it will scorch, and that will make it taste burnt and bitter. So, yeah, try not to, don't turn your heat up too high. It can melt together slowly, and it'll be delicious. If it scorches, it won't be as delicious. I gotta tell you, Steph, you have a voicemail. It's bothering me.
When my dad was my para, I would walk back in my room and he's like, "You have to make that stop blinking." It's been blinking for a few days now.
Oh, stop! Oh.
I just know it's like from the school with their school reach call.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, if you know what the voicemail is, it's hard to want to check it, but that light would drive me
I had 6
crazy.
on there and I took a picture of it and sent it to my dad.
Oh my goodness, that's just mean.
I know.
It's like when I send pictures of sharks to my sister.
Yeah.
She's afraid of sharks. That's not nice. I still do it, but it's not nice. Alright, so now I'm going to do the milk part. All my cans are empty. Put about a half can's worth of milk in every single one. This helps to get the stuff off the side so you're really making the most of your money. I know Sarah said earlier she watches a show of
Dollar dish.
Yep, for $20 making a whole dinner. And I think you could make this with $20, but you definitely still don't want to be a waster. I think the only thing I've ever wasted was something I tried to make that was vegan. It did not turn out very well.
What was it?
It was those like kind of burger patties, but they were made with chickpeas and well, I don't know. I don't even remember. It was a traumatic experience, and they did not turn out well. The flavor wasn't great. I don't know. Had a little cooking club here in Romania that allowed us to try new things, and that was something I tried that did not turn out. Hi there.
Faculty
talking about facts.
No, it's not that.
Food
The
and consume.
meeting
I
that's
thought it was
outside.
family.
That's okay, yeah. I just want the food.
Yeah, that's a great place to
So
go.
it's just just things that people are concerned about, or
Yeah,
I will
like
say that
before it
what
would
does
go
not go very well
to,
with this is carrots. It's a little too sweet.
Me confirmed, thank you. Yeah.
Peas would be good. They're sweet,
Yeah.
but they don't have kind of that carrot sweetness. Not sure how to describe it other than that.
What about peas?
I love peas. I could put peas in everything. However, my husband does not like peas, so it's hard to sneak those into anything.
What about green beans?
I have put green beans in here before. I've also put corn, but I was always raised to have lots of color in my meals. So if you add corn, not only is it not really a vegetable because it's a grain, but it's just kind of yellow on yellow, and I always like that pop of color. So
What about broccoli?
I love broccoli in this.
Mm.
Broccoli and cauliflower doesn't give you the color either, which is why I usually do a broccoli and cauliflower. And I'm sure I mentioned it, but in case you didn't know, this is a cheese sauce. Right now it's just the cream soup part, but we will be adding cheese once Lancaster's done with the dumplings that we're doing extra. All that extra cheese I get, usually in a smaller bag.
Are these arranged correctly?
They look good, yeah. All that extra cheese kind of goes into our sauce, and if you're really a cheesy person, add more. If you want it to be less cheesy, because you know there's cheese in here, or you have some sort of a lactose issue, add less. You don't need all the extra cheese. The sauce is delicious either way. And we cook the sauce while the dumplings are cooking so that everything kind of gets done at the same time. Eventually, once this melts together, we can turn up the heat a little bit as long as you're ready to stir it the whole time. That's so simple. I don't know why I never knew that. It's either.
It's delightful.
Ugh. You know, after I get these going, I'll come over and help you with the last bit of it, and we'll wait for everything. You know what I didn't do, Steph? I did not set a timer.
Oh, no.
But that's okay, because
You can do a visual.
all we're gonna do is check them and make sure they're golden brown. You don't want them to still look doughy. If they're still doughy, they won't hold up to the sauce quite as well. So, you even want them a little beyond where you take them out normally, just to make sure they hold up. But we will see. I've also seen these topped with cheese, if you're really a cheese fanatic.
That's me.
Once you add the sauce, put them in for about 15-20 minutes. Then you can top them with cheese for the last 5 minutes, and they turn out great.
As
Lots
long
and lots of cheese.
While we're on the topic of cheese, let me just say, Aldi, which is a great budget grocery store, has so many different kinds of cheeses. I went there yesterday, and I got Boursin, I got Brie, I got cheddar, I got blue cheese, did I say that?
No, you said Boursin.
Blue cheese, I got spread roll whipped cream cheese, I got a hard Parmesan,
Every time. Oh, dang it. I thought I was ready.
so if you like cheese, Aldi is where it's at. I love cheese.
I'm not really a fancy cheese sort of gal, kind of the straight up regular ones, but every now and again, I think I tried a holiday dessert once with the brie. So I used little puff pastry squares, and I filled them with like a little bit of brie and apricot jam. And then I put them in the oven, and they were delightful. But you gotta like that creamy cheese flavor. Not everybody does.
I love cheese.
So when I lay these down, I lay the kind of the more flat side, shorter flat side towards me, so that the point points up, and that allows me to fold them a little bit better. I'm sure I didn't quite mention that before. That's okay. That's why we watch and watch again when we are cooking videos.
Mine looks like a triangle. Is that what it's supposed to look like?
You know what? That's okay. As long as it tastes good, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. Triangle seems like a perfect shape. Mine end up being more dumpling-like or like a ball. That's okay too. Right, this last batch is going to fill that very large pan. This is not the kind of pan you cook with at home. This is the kind of pan that we're going to have to. Would you mind setting it for a second? Those in there.
That's a big pan.
This one we'll want to do 3 rows of 5.
Oh,
Because we have
This is why math is important. 3
Yes.
by 5.
Yeah, as a person who cooks, you definitely need to use math. That's super important. I know you guys wonder sometimes when you're going to use these skills, but as an adult, you have to cook for yourself. Even if you're going out and ordering food, you have to be able to do the math to make sure you can afford it. So, pay attention to your math. It will never hurt you to pay attention to your math.
3 rows of 5. 15.
I think that's how many we have left. We might have 16 left.
Oh.
So we'll put one,
3 rows of 5 and 1 remainder.
yeah, with one remainder. So we'll put one somewhere. We'll make room for it. Alright, I can smell the soup starting to kind of come together.
Oh
I
yes.
stirred it. It's clumpy right now with the milk and the soup, but as it warms up, it's going to come together in more of a creamy sauce consistency. You just want the sauce done by the time your crescent rolls are done.
Little cheese.
What are you, Emerald?
Emerald?
He does BAM. You don't watch Emerald?
I have no idea
That's
what
his
you're talking
thing.
about. What?
So Emerald is a cooking personality. He used to be on the cooking channel. I don't know if he is anymore. I don't have a little TV. However, when he would add something, a flavor or a season or a spice or something, we'd take a pinch of it and go BAM! And that was his thing. That was his tagline.
Oh.
He bammed his way into delicious flavored food. That was his thing. Are you familiar with Emerald stuff? Look, she's nodding her
I
head. She
have
knows.
no idea what you're talking about.
I also spent a lot of time watching
Emerald?
Emerald?
Emerald.
Emerald.
Emerald Lagasse.
No.
Yeah.
He's from New Orleans.
Damn.
Very well. See, she knows. Okay.
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, I'm gonna show you some Emerald videos.
Also,
Okay.
I look after them.
I think I used to, and now I'm a little older than Mrs. Lancaster, but I used to see memes of him bamming his way through other dumplings too.
I'm just over here like,
Like he would throw a bird seed on the ground with a BAM! Or throw glitter in the air with a BAM!
ooh, that stuff will be everywhere forever.
Well, yeah, glitter is the worst. In case you're not sure, glitter is the worst. In fact, when we do projects with the kids at school, we don't use glitter very often, and we finally discovered how to be smarter, and we laminated their project. It was a great idea.
Work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
Okay.
Alright, stirring my soup up. It's still at about a 6. You don't want it to be too hot. You also don't want to leave it to do its thing too much. You want to be stirring it pretty constantly.
This dumpling looks like that now.
What?
Nothing.
It does.
Probably.
Alright, I'm gonna churn. Let's see, I'm gonna churn this one a little. And I'm gonna start adding the cheese. This sauce pot came together a little quicker than the other one, because I started it first. So I'm gonna take this cheese. And I'm gonna put a healthy handful in. Now this is a double batch. So in a single batch it would be a healthy handful, like that much. Okay, but this is a double batch, so I'm putting 2 healthy handfuls. And then because I really like cheese, I'm gonna put just a little bit more.
Do it.
And this, now you have to really focus on stirring it constantly, because you don't want the cheese to clump, you don't want the cheese to burn. This sauce needs to now become your cheese sauce. I'm gonna check on my dumplings, my first batch, while I'm at it. Ooh, they're looking good, definitely not ready yet, so that's okay. Gives me a little extra time to not stress about the sauce. I do wish we were got all these fancy camera angles and you could see inside the saucepan, but since you can't, you'll have to take my word for it that it's just got ooey gooey melty cheese. It's probably still can't see. Anyways, ooey gooey melty cheese kind of stirred around and coming together. Before I put the sauce on the dumplings, I'm going to make sure that I throw in a good handful of chicken as well. But we're gonna let that cheese come together first.
I love crescent rolls. I'm just saying, they got so many delicious layers.
I'm just saying it was, so let me show, you got any stuff?
Yeah.
So this soup pan doesn't have cheese, and it's just really a soupy soup. It's very liquidy. This one over here, when you stir it, now that I added the cheese, really has that melty cheese quality. It is a cheese sauce. So now that it's all melted together, I'm gonna turn it down to about a 3 just to keep it warm until it goes over our dumplings. And I'm gonna add the cheese to this sauce pot. So I have a healthy handful and another healthy handful.
I could see why you want to keep these cold as long as possible.
Yeah.
They're getting soft, and they are definitely harder to work with.
Yes. Yep. All right, so then I stir in my spoon from the other pot, and I just stir that in, kind of fold, stir, make sure that you are constantly stirring this until you turn that heat
You
down.
guys get to see this whole process here.
Oh, it's getting warm. So the croissants do not do as well because croissants, fun fact, crustables have layers because of a process called lamination. When you're making the dough, you fold in cold butter and you fold the dough as many times as you can, and that creates all the layers.
Oh.
Coming from a person who's never made these. But I like to eat them.
I also like to eat them, but I did not know that. So look at, I love this dish. I've made it forever, and I'm still learning new things about it. I have seen a few other dishes made where they layer the dough of whatever kind they're making, and it always, there's like butter in between that's folded in. It makes it taste delicious.
Butter makes everything.
Well, yeah.
delicious.
Yeah. The two B's in our kitchen that always make everything better are butter and bacon.
Mm.
But if you don't like bacon, then just go with butter. Alright. So I'm going to finish this dumpling. I know Sarah's finishing those 4.
Two.
Oh, she only took 2 of mine. Okay. I'm going to check.
Do you want me to do those?
Only if you run out of time, or if I'm busy.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I just know with 4 batches this can be challenging, so I'm trying to help her out. And I know I want to show you guys the first batch while we make the others. So I'm going to grab a hot pad, make sure you use safety in the kitchen, and I'm going to see if these are done. Let me show you. It's been in probably about 10 minutes. They need at least 3 or 4 more minutes.
Oh, dang, those
But
look
they're
good.
starting to look good. They're puffing up a little bit. I'm also going to put in the second batch, just because I know we're going to want these done around the same time. This is a huge batch. It's a big undertaking. So make sure when you start, just start for a batch of
8
for your own family. And I would say normally the batch of 8 feeds 4. I grew up in a family of 4, it's mom, dad, sister, and me. And we'd each get 2 of these, and it was plenty. So that was one batch, and it takes plenty of time on its own. So try to start with that before you decide to make a big old batch like this. It can be a little intimidating.
Oh, it's very intimidating. I've never made these.
You know what? You're doing great. Look at all these beautiful dumplings. They're going to taste good.
That's
They
because you can't
look
see the
good.
bottom.
That's okay. That's why you put the bottom on the bottom.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more. Sarah, you want to do the last
I
one?
will.
All right.
We had some chicken left over, huh?
Yep, but it's going to go in these sauce pots. Maybe not all of it, but because, whole rotisserie chicken is like 2 breasts, 2 legs, 2 wings, 2 thighs. And they pulled all the meat. So it is a little extra chicken. I told you I'd use about 3 breasts if I was using just boneless chicken breast. So it's a little bit extra. And the cool part about this is you can use it in anything. You throw it on a salad. You could cook it in to a quesadilla with more of that cheese. I'm just saying, you got lots of options with leftover chicken.
Oh, you shouldn't have let me do this last one.
It's great. All right, so I'm going to just adjust a few of these so this last one fits in here.
The struggle is real over there.
Oh, no. Just don't look.
I'm not looking.
Okay, don't add up. Don't.
I'm going to put my leftover cheese from my cutting board in there.
I just had to smush it into a ball.
There you go.
All right,
Until
I'm going
it
to turn
does
this sauce
something.
pot down to a 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to start adding, we're going to add the chicken because this is ready to go. You can see it's got that cheesy stretch again, like the other one. Like I said, if you like chicken, you can add more. It's not going to hurt it.
Love.
Or if you like chicken, I meant cheese, but chicken too. All right, so you got a ton of chicken left, and we made so many dumplings. So I said this, you're gonna have plenty. I'm gonna put 2 nice healthy handfuls in here. I usually don't have this much chicken left, but I usually don't buy this much chicken. So 2 healthy handfuls here. That one just got turned down, so it's still doing some bubbling, but we'll just make sure to stir it. Maybe a little bit extra, because who doesn't like a little extra chicken? And then look, Steph has chicken extra to do whatever she'd like with. Or maybe another dish. All right. We'll use this cheese since it's out. It's been warmed. Can't have too much cheese, right?
No.
No.
All right, since I think I'm done with my hands, I'm gonna go ahead and wash them again.
I'm gonna stir this for you
Thank you.
because I don't want anything to burn.
Thank you.
This gonna mix that cheese in. Oh man, look at this cheese. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is cheese gold.
And this is why we used 2 sauce pots and not one, because we knew that it was going to be a lot extra.
Yeah.
Look
don't
at
Look
that.
at that, you guys.
Oh, there is a cheese pull. That is nice. Let me use this little hot pad. Hold this.
All right, you want to stir this in as
Stir that one. Scrape the sides so we don't have any crusties forming.
That was a cool swirl.
I just didn't want any of the cheese pulls to pull
Be
over the
wasted,
stove and
yeah.
get lost.
It also is tough to clean a stove if you cause a big mess, so I always try to keep it a little bit neat. If it doesn't, that's okay. You got cleaners, rags, all that stuff, you can get it cleaned just fine.
I can feel a little bit on the bottom.
Of the scorching?
Well, I don't think it's scorching. It's just something is melting on there, and I'm thinking it's cheese.
Melty cheese. Man,
But I'm just
there's
gonna,
nothing this cheese sauce does not taste good on.
I'm gonna prevent the scorching by kind of just running the spoon along the bottom of the pot.
All right, when Sarah steps to the side, I'm gonna glance in and see if our dumplings are good to go. The first batch here, ooh, that's hot. When you open, if you have glasses, see they're still not quite ready. We want them to be golden brown all the way around. They're getting there though. We'll give them about 2 more minutes, 2-3 more minutes. If you open the oven with glasses, be prepared for the fog and the heat. That is something to be very aware of. And once those come out golden brown, because it's a double batch, I'll be using that spoon to scoop about half of it over top the biscuits. And when they get served, you serve them with a little bit extra of that sauce around it. Oh, man, they're so good. So now it's just the waiting game for those biscuits to come out or the dumplings to come out.
We could probably clean our little station.
We
while
could,
wait.
yeah. We're gonna wait to put these in until the oven's clear, because that will not take as much of the heat away from the ones we're already finishing. Alright. Miss Sarah, would you put milk away and the cheese as
I
well?
would,
We just want to make sure that none of our product goes bad.
Don't leave dairy out. You're gonna have problems.
Alright. Those are, actually I turned both of these off since they're ready to go. They'll still stay hot as they sit in here and wait for our dumplings to be done. That's it. Turn them off and they're ready. One of these pots is going to go over this entire big pan, but the other one will be split between the 2. Normally you'll just use the one pot for your one pan, but we made a big batch. Alright, I have hot water on a dish rag and I'm going to wipe down the counter before we spray it with some cleaner. I don't know if you'll be here for that part, but I want to make sure to get it as clean as I can before, of all the stuff, before we use the cleaner on it.
Stop there, like. You're a marker. Now I'm gonna put the rest of this chicken away. It's important when you put things in your fridge that you know how old it is.
Yes.
So sometimes I put dates on my things.
Don't rely on your memory.
No.
You never know what's going to happen and totally change the way you think about the time of things.
So I'm just gonna put this leftover chopped chicken in this gallon Ziploc bag. So we have this chicken for something else.
Hopefully you can find something to use for chicken.
I might be able to.
Maybe. Oh! Chicken down.
See, that's why you have a dog in here. My dog would be right on that,
Oh yeah.
but we can't have him here. So,
No, we can't.
although I do wish I could have my dog and cats with me every day.
Mess on the
I
camera.
really trust my dog.
Mine either.
She's energetic. These are looking good. Oh yeah. Alright guys, so I'm going to take this first batch out.
Very hot.
It's very hot. I'm going to set it on a hot pad next to my soup saucepan.
I'm gonna squeeze all the air out of this.
Alright, handles are not
Prevent
hot.
oxidation on the meat.
I'll move this over to my other hot pad, and then I want it cool so I don't do a lot of spilling. And then I'm going to scoop about half of this kind of over. I do at least 1 spoonful over top of every dumpling. That's how you kind of give it that dewiness that we talked about earlier. At least 1 big spoonful over every single dumpling. Whatever kind of bubbles to the side is okay. That's extra sauce that you top yours with when you eat them. I don't want to take too much because I want to make sure there's room, or there's enough for the other pan, but I want to make sure that it gets kind of covered. The whole bottom should be covered of this. One more scoop here in the corner. And then, like I said, the whole bottom should be covered, so I'm going to do just another little, about half scoop up here on the edge. It just gets bubbly and delicious. And another scoop kind of just spread around here. And this is where if you really like cheese and you wanted to add a little bit more, you could. If I wanted vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, I would have put them in the sauce pot as we cooked that. But this is good to go back in the oven for about 20 minutes. And when it's bubbling on top, it is ready to eat. All right, and I think that we'll probably show you a picture of what it looks like all done. Thanks for watching, and I'm glad that I could share with you.